Hey folks, thanks for listening to the Bridgelock bonus series brought to you by Mathews Archery. In this first video, if you're watching the video version of this on Spotify or YouTube, we did intend to film it with both the big camera and a second angle GoPro, but unfortunately the big camera footage got corrupted and lost, and I didn't want to redo an unboxing video and like fake everything. And so we're going to do it with the second angle. I apologize that it's a goofy angle if you're watching the video, but you do get a really good kind of behind the scenes look at all the stuff. So you might get a cooler angle on the actual bow and accessories. And so with that, we're going to kick this episode off. Once again, thank you for being here. Welcome to the very first episode of the Bridgelock bonus series of the Drawn West podcast, brought to you by Mathews Archery. In this Bridgelock series, we're going to be walking you through step by step how to build out a complete bow from the box all the way to the blind or the tree stand or the mountain, no matter what you've got going on this fall. We are going to be taking you along for the ride, unboxing, setting up all your accessories, doing all your tuning, getting your arrows and your broadheads ready to go. So you know when it comes time for fall, you're locked in and ready to rock. And today's episode, we're going to be kicking it off with unboxing our full 2025 setup. Let's get into it. We got 2 complete boxes of all kinds of super exciting stuff that we're going to be getting all opened up. Starting with, let's start with the bow. Shout out to Gerber for the handy dandy Old Faithful pocket knife. It's not actually the brand, but that's my pocket knife of choice. I'm excited. This is going to be awesome. First up, badass Mathews Archery black hat, perfect for the blind. And here it is, folks. I've been waiting for this for almost 10 years. I've been shooting my halon, and now I finally have the Lift X 33. Oh man, this is awesome. Bridge lock, set screw already attached. Went with, as you can see, complete green strings, cables, and serving. Super cool. Left the monkey tails black on this build because I just didn't really like the way the green monkey tails looked, and I thought they'd just collect dust. But super excited for this. Let's get the box out of the way and let's start talking about it. All right, let's dive into this bow because I'm super excited for it. So right off the bat, we have the Lift X 33 inches axle to axle. Now, I went with the 33 because I have a pretty long draw. I actually ordered this bow in a 30.5 inch. My old Halon, my OG Halon, which we might actually break out in a side-by-side at the end of this video, was a 30 inch. And so getting to be a pretty tight string angle. When they came out with the 33, I knew that was the one I wanted. So we went with that. I got re-measured and actually came in at about 30.6 for my draw length. And so we ordered a 30.5 inch on this. The other thing you're gonna notice, I went with the shale fade to black. So top of my bow, gray, bottom of my bow is black. I'm very excited about that. It looks just as cool as I was hoping for. I also went on this bow, I went with an 80-pound bow. So fully tightened up, this is gonna be shooting probably a touch over 80 pounds, but I'm gonna probably start out at 70 with this. I've been shooting 70 on my Halon for a long time, and it's pretty safe to shoot about 10 pounds under your rated draw length or draw weight. And so I'm gonna start at 70, build my way up. I don't know what I'm gonna hunt at yet this year, but I wanted that option to get up to 80 if I wanted to for elk or just getting some extra speed. 3D season, I'll back it back down to 70. No need to be pulling 80 pounds through 3D season, but super excited. Mathews Lift X 33, shale fade to black, solid green cable, solid green string, solid green serving. Very excited about this. So let's put this bow down and let's get into the next box, because the next box I'm just as excited for as I was for this box. So let's break out the rest of our accessories. All right, this is like Christmas morning, guys. I don't know the last time I was able to build out a complete bow. It's been since my graduation in college when I built out my Halon, and I was still on a college budget, so I didn't get to go truly crazy with the accessories. This box has all of my favorite wish list bow accessories in it, and I cannot wait to get this box open. Boom. All right, what should we grab out of here first, folks? Let's see here. Let's do this one first because this is the most practical. Right off the bat, the Engage Exo limbs. I have always thought this is a must-have item for all these new bows, just to be able to set the bow down on the Exo limbs, and that's exactly why I started out with this one. So that way we can get the bow up and a lot more visible for all of you that are watching this instead of listening to it on our podcast. All right, let's read the directions. First, instructions for use: with legs pivoted wide open, slide onto the limb cup from the rear. All right. Slide onto limb cup from the rear. Close legs one at a time until they lock into place. Boom. How sweet is that, folks? This is like the coolest accessory ever. Exo leg limbs. So for folks that are listening that haven't seen this and they can't watch the video, it's basically bow jack. It's a bow jack, but it keeps your entire bow off the ground. The cam doesn't hit the ground. None of your limbs or riser hits the ground. Just perfectly balanced. Pick it up, shoot, set it down, and then it's on the pocket itself, not your actual limb. And so you can just pick this straight up, pull back, shoot, put it back down. For anyone that hunts in a blind, I think also huge must-have. If you're hunting in box blinds a lot, I think you're gonna love having the Exo limbs on there. So, boom. Let's now get into the rest of our box. Now that we can set our bow up and get it off the table, we're just gonna set this right here, right in front of our deer. All right, so I don't even know where to start. I'm so excited for this box. Let's start with the sight. The sight's one of the biggest things that you always have to do. That's gonna be your biggest accessory when you're building out a bow, is the sight. And so the one that I've been rocking, actually, let's go get it. Quick break, folks. We'll be right back. We're gonna go get our old Halon and just do a side-by-side comparison quick. All right, folks, we're back. And so what I did is I just went and ran and grabbed my Halon. And so now what I'm putting on is I got this old Pine Ridge like bow stand that I've been using on my Halon for years, but that just clips onto the lower limb. And so I'm setting up both bows right now. And so that way I can talk about all of the cool features one by one. And so, I don't know what to do with this big box of accessories. Boom. All right. Little side-by-side on Exo Engage limb legs versus the Pine Ridge or the old style. So right now, my old Halon, it's resting on its lower cam, which isn't the best. I mean, it's going to scratch it up. Just isn't the best thing to be setting your bow on. And then these Pine Ridge legs hook onto the Halon limbs and hold it up that way. Obviously, Exo, way more integrated, keeps the entire bow off the ground and no contact with your limbs outside of the pocket. Actually, no contact with your limbs at all, because these are on the pocket itself. So way better way to hold your bow when you're shooting 3D league or in the backyard. So that's the difference. So that's the two different styles there. Now let's go talk about sights. So we'll put this one out in front actually. So as you can see here, I've been shooting a slider for a lot of years, and I love a 3-pin slider. And the reason I love it is because when I go west elk hunting, I have total control and flexibility from 0. This one currently goes out to 100 yards. I gotta be a little careful because it starts to get too low with my arrow. But I love that total control and flexibility. So if there's an elk at 53, I can dial right to 53, know exactly where my arrow is gonna land. And that's what I love about the sliders. Now the reason I switched to a 3-pin slider is for whitetail hunting, almost the opposite. I wanna dial that back and know exactly where my 20, 30, and 40 is, because in a whitetail stand, I'm generally never shooting farther than 40. And those deer, as they're coming in, you don't know if they're gonna give you a shot at 35 or 25 or 20. So you don't wanna be messing around too much with your dial. You wanna be ready to go. And that's why I think the 3 pins in addition to the slider is the magical sweet spot. So that was my old bow. For the new bow, I went with the UltraView 3-pin horizontal slider, bridge lock integrated, so I'm super excited about that. It's gonna fit right into the center of the bow, as you can see on my old one, mounted off on the right side. So it's just adding a little bit of side lean. The new one's gonna come right in, straight through the center of the riser, and I'm super excited about that. So I went with the bridge lock UV slider. This should be a 3-pin horizontal. So I just like the horizontal bars coming through. It's just the way I have gotten used to sights since the very beginning. I know a lot of people are switching to the verticals. That's fine too. I just think having multiple pins is a great option no matter what you're doing with a slider. So I'm super excited for the UV slider, and let's get this unboxed and opened up here. Let me put my old bow in the back for a second. And let's open up this UV slider and let's check it out. This video is probably gonna be secondary sponsored by Gerber, just because they use my pocket knife so much. But take the box apart. Take all the plastic off of that box. Super cool packaging, high-end magnetic box. Super cool there. Elevated. Bridge lock, elevated. Comes in a sweet case. Very sturdy case that it's popped up in. So let's unzip this and get a look at it. Boom. All right. First impressions, super clean. Coming straight out of the box. As you can see, this carrying case, perfectly made for the bridge lock sight. You got some extra slots for spare hardware. Right in here, we've got all of our spare hardware, some wrenches, our sight tape, all of our set screws comes in that little box right there. So super cool, keep that all tidy and clean. Now we got the two main things here. So we have the sight housing. Got a little protective foam because there's some sharp objects in there. Got the sight housing with the dial. And then we have the bridge lock carrier. And so if we were going to assemble this right now, I'm not actually going to assemble it right now because I'm going to put all of the things back in the box, bring it over to full draw, and we're going to assemble it over at full draw. But here's the sight housing. Here is the slider. And you just slide that right on, snap it in, and you're connected. So super cool, super lightweight on that. So we have that, we have the sight housing. We have a spare snap-in insert. Keep that protected right there. Now, top of the case, we got some more hardware and instructions in here. So in here, we have all of our sight tapes. So, and the instructions, and a cable to charge. So here is the list, all the sight tapes. So when you get, when you want to switch arrows, switch speeds, switch weights, you can just unbolt this little plaque and bolt on a new one. I'll probably actually be ordering a couple spare slider plates. So that way, if I have a 200 grain arrow, a 100 grain arrow, a hunting arrow, a 3D arrow, I can just quickly swap these off and just keep running and gunning and cruising, rocking and rolling without having to like take the sticker off and put a new sticker on. So I love that about sliders. They're usually pretty fast to interchange and makes it really easy to shoot. So all of our stickers are right here, and then the full user manual on how to operate the sight in this package as well. And so we went with the Ultra View just because of the integration to the Mathews bow. Obviously it's going to be the premium option, but I'm really excited for it. I've shot the HHA Kingpin 3-pin housing on my old bow. Really excited to shoot this new Ultra View that's made for this bow. Super excited about that. So that's the Ultra View the Ultra View slider. Very excited. Always love shooting a slider. And it comes in a super sweet box, folks. I mean, not that the box is why you buy it, but it is packaged quite well. So we'll put that back together, and we're gonna bring this over to Full Draw Archery when we get everything set up in episode 2. But that's the sight we went with. The Mathews Bridge Lock UV Slider 3-pin horizontal. All right, so next up, let's go with the rest. So for the rest, on my old bow, as you can see, I have a very probably nuanced choice on here. This is actually an NAP Apache. And the reason why this is a cable drawn drop away. The reason I switched to this one is the NAP Apache, you didn't have to click up. It just automatically comes up as you draw. Now, a couple good things about that, a couple bad things about that. One of the good things about it is it's simple. One of the bad things about it is until you draw, your arrow is not, it's kind of loose and dangling. And so that's one thing that I kind of regretted. So now with the new one, we went with the Bridge Lock. Oh, that's the wrong box.
Hey folks, if you're listening to this, you probably already know we are giving away a brand new Mathews bow. That's right, you heard it correct. We are going to be giving away one brand new Lift X to a lucky podcast listener. If you don't know, or you're not already signed up, go over to getdrawnwest.com and get yourself entered to win. It's completely free. All you need is an email. There's absolutely no money that you have to spend to win this bow. We will not let you spend any money to win this bow. We're not pumping any merch. We're not selling any stupid stickers. All you need to win is your email. Get signed up. We got a bunch of ways you can get bonus entries. And this week's bonus secret code word for 20 extra entries is going to be Maverick. You heard it, Maverick, as in Maverick Hunting Blinds, one of our longest and best partners of the podcast. So we got to show them a little bit of love. And we're going to have the code word, the secret code word this week be Maverick. So email it to us, Brian@getdrawnwest.com, or send it in a DM on Instagram at getdrawnwest. Send us that code word. You're going to get 20 extra entries for the Lift X. Now back to the show.
We went with the Bridgelock IMX. Get the box over here. Rest. The IMX drop weight rest. And so in here, it's a very similar concept really, but this time you can click it up and hold it. So that's one of the things that I am excited to try. So now, especially whitetail hunting, that's the most time we spend with the bows whitetail hunting these days. Get to the stand, get your arrow up, lock it in, and now your arrow has full containment and can never slide off, which is one thing I'm really excited for. So we went Ultra Rest Integrated MX for the Mathews. It's going to be a sweet, very integrated, well put together rest for this bow. So that's our rest. So those are the two major components for shooting an arrow, right? Those are the two base components that everyone needs. You need a sight, you need a rest. From there, it's all personal preference on how you like to set up your bow. And so I'm going to walk you through how I set mine up and why I picked what I picked. And then, if I can get this bag back together, we're going to head over to episode 2 and we're going to get everything started on the bow and start tuning it in. So, IMX rest. All right, so next up, one of the biggest things next is the quiver. So, on my old bow, I had the detachable Mathews 4 arrow. One of the interesting things that I did, I actually put mine upside down on the bottom, because when I'm elk hunting, a lot of times I'll take a break, I'll set my bow down on the ground actually, and with a 30-inch draw and I have a little bit longer arrows, if my quiver's up here pointed down, my nocks are the first thing that hit the ground, and then my nocks get filled with mud, or sometimes they'd even pull off. And so I've always rocked the detachable quiver upside down. And so that's the one that I have on my Halon here. The one we're going with this year is similar concept. We are doing the Low Pro detachable quiver for Mathews bows. So very excited about this Low Pro detachable. It's the perfect size for me. It's a 5 arrow. I've always shot a 4 or 5 arrow quiver. I personally don't see the need for 7 arrows. If I did a ton of backcountry hunting, like true backcountry hunting, I'd maybe consider going to that 7 arrow, because then you could be gone for up to 14 days and not knowing when you're coming back to camp to resupply. But our style of hunting is typically day hunts when we're out west. And so I might have 24 arrows in camp. I feel pretty good about only bringing 4 out for the day. I have only ran out once, and that's a story for another podcast. But I think 5 is the perfect amount. I went with a shale quiver because I'm going to mount this one right side up now that I have a 33-inch bow, and the top of my bow is shale, so my quiver hood is going to be shale to match the top side of my bow. So very excited about this quiver. Let's pop it open and just check it out a little bit further. Whoo! That is light. Man, that's a light quiver. All right, got some bridge lock components here to mount it, the snaps for mounting it on and off. Carbon fiber chassis, I guess is what you would call that. Shale hood. 5 nested arrows in there. It's gonna look sweet. So, gonna be mounted right about there. It's gonna be the perfect quiver for me. Shale to match the bow. Super excited for that. I can't believe how light this is, to be honest with you. So there you have it. Low Pro, detachable, 5 arrow quiver. Perfect size for, I think, a whitetail hunter, because who even brings 5 arrows whitetail hunting? I haven't in many, many years. So throw maybe a small game tip on there, maybe throw a huge expandable in case you catch a coyote coming through. Got the mounting hardware. Make sure I get this back in the box so we can bring this over to full draw archery and get it set up. So that's the Quiver. Rocking and rolling right along. Next up, we have probably the last part of this video series is, as you can see on my Halon, I shoot a ton of weight. I have a 10-inch bar out front with 3 ounces on it, and then I have a 6-inch bar out the back with 4 ounces on it. I like having a lot of weight. This is how I hunt out west. Obviously without the Pine Ridge legs. So this is how I hunt, plus a Quiver. It's a heavy bow. I like it heavy. I find that having the bar out front really does help stabilize your bow and helps lower your arrow or your pin movement when you're trying to hold on target. So I've always really liked having a lot of weight. And so one of the most exciting things, and the title of this series is the Bridge Lock bonus series. Of course, we had to go with a couple Bridge Lock bars. So very excited with how good these bars look when they're on the bows. They are so much more integrated and look way cooler than any third party or off the shelf bar. So I went with 2 options. Like I said before, I have a 12 or a 10-inch bee stinger off the front, 6-inch bee stinger off the back. I went with 12 and 8 this time to get a little bit farther out, which is going to help me reduce the weight a little bit and still have the same net effect on my bow wobble. And so that way I have a little bit lighter bow that I'm carrying around the mountains and still have the same overall stabilizer effect. And so, man, the Bridge Lock locks are right in the box too. We'll try to get this bar out of here and check. There we go. All right. So the first thing that you notice about this bar compared to my old bar, super lightweight, skeleton, hollowed out inside aluminum with a few Bridge Lock weights up front and then a harmonic dampener in the bar itself. So way more weight focused out front, which is where you want your weight on a stabilizer. You don't want a solid weight all the way along. So if I take my old stabilizer out with 3 extra ounces on this bar, holding it by the end and holding this one by the end, this Bridge Lock stabilizer by Mathews holds way more weight without the extra ounces because it's a little longer and it's focusing all of that weight out towards the end, not having a bunch of weight here in the middle. So I think it's going to be a lot better overall, and besides, it looks absolutely phenomenal. So very, very excited about this front bar. Now on the back bar, we did the same thing. We did black because the bottom of my bow is black with that shale fade to black, and so black bars instead of gray. And on these, if I can get this one out, this back bar, I chose to go with 8 inches, if I can get it out of the box. There, that one popped through. There we go. I chose to go with an 8 instead of a 6 on the back, and the reason for that is, again, just less overall weight with the same amount of balancing. So here's my strategy with my bars. The front bar, I want to be out there to be stabilizing my hold. So when I'm out at full extension, I'm trying to keep that pin right around target. My wobble may go from, this is an exaggeration, but a big wobble, you put all that weight out there, all that inertia, it's harder to move around all that weight, and so your wobble's less. But when you put that big weight out there, at least when I put that big weight out there, it tends to want to pull your bow down, and you might always be fighting to get that pin up to the target. That's why I add a pretty significantly heavy back bar with maybe more weight. So like as you see with this bow, I have 3 ounces up front, 4 ounces in the back. The way I try to add the weight is what feels good for my wobble up front, lock that in, and then I add weight on the back until my bow balances out. I don't want my bow to rise. I don't want to be pulling it down to target, but I don't want to be pulling it up to target either. I want my bow to just settle in and float naturally and have equal balance front to back. And so that's why, in addition to these 2 bars, I just went ahead and I ordered 4 extra bridge lock weights. So each bar comes with 2 weights on it. If I have 4 more, then I can put another 1 or 2 up front and then put, oh, this is not one of those, and then put another 2 in the back. We'll see what I like. I can also adjust the lengths a little bit on this 12. So that's why I went with 12 and 8, so I can slide them in a little bit, slide them out a little bit, figure out what the perfect setting is for me. And then lastly, one of the last things in the box, green harmonic dampeners, obviously, because the whole theme of my bow is lime green. And so I just pop that out. And put the new one in, and then pop this guy in the bar again. And now I have a green dampener in my bar. Got one for each. I'll obviously save these. Great thing to save just in case you lose them down the road. But I think this green accent in there is going to look pretty dope with my green string and have a pretty awesome, wrong hand, pretty awesome setup when we're all said and done. So very excited about that. Now on the back, you have to have a way to connect your back bar, and so that's where I went with the single V bridge lock adapter. So this will let me mount my rear bar into this little port and then get the exact angle I want. And so with my angle, I want to take this bar and this V-lock or V-adjuster, and I want to get the exact angle. So if I add a quiver and a sight on the right side, my bow might cant this way. I want to get this at the right angle so my bow comes back, and not only is it balanced forward and back, it's also balanced left to right. And hopefully I don't have to be trying to balance it while I'm holding. I don't want to have to look at my dial or my bubble level. I'd like my bow to just balance itself. So that's why we have the adjustable V. If you're someone that wants a lot of rear weight and maybe wants a bar coming off both sides in the back, they do make a double V that you can put 2 rear bars on if you want, but I didn't need that, so I just went with the single V. And so that's the whole bow buildup. I think that's the entire box. We've done every single thing in here, and I'm super excited for it. Like I said, I cannot wait to get to full draw archery and start putting together this bow. That'll be episode 2 of the Bridge Lock series. Episode 1 here is coming to a wrap. That's our build for this year. All of the stuff we picked and why to start building out this bow. I'm really excited for it, folks. Thanks for listening. And if you haven't already, hit the follow button, hit the share or the subscribe, and please give us a rating. It's the #1 way to help us grow. Thank you for being here, folks.